giving away a vacuum cleaner if anybody needs a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, really? I would totally take one.
It's yours.
Is it shitty? Are you getting rid of it because it's bad, or because you
I just have to.
Did you say I have to, or I have to?
I own two of them.
Oh.
I have a vacuum cleaner that I purchased with money.
I have to.
I have to.
Yeah, I heard I have to as well.
I have to.
I've got to.
I'm producing. Oh, God damn it.
I've got to. I have to.
Listen, I really need to get rid of both of my vacuum cleaners.
It's imperative.
That you've also been afflicted by this?
I have this problem.
I have to, too.
I have to.
Why have you been playing Fallout 4?
Because it's November 25th, 2015.
This is Idle Thumbs 238. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Sean Vanneman.
And I'm Jake Rodkin. Chris, why have you been playing not as much Fallout 4 as you would like?
I haven't been playing as much Fallout 4 as I would have expected myself to, because... Okay, so last week I talked to... Was it... I can't remember if it was last week.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago now.
Okay. 2 weeks ago, I guess, I talked about Anno 2205 Asteroid Miner, which is the mobile sort of companion game to Anno 2205, the city builder economic sim from Blue Byte and Ubisoft. And this companion app that I have on iPhone, it's like a, puzzle matching game, and it allows you to... And resources that you collect in that game can be linked to your Uplay account and sent to your Anno 2205 game, and then you get those resources in the game. But so I knew that was the case when I talked about it. I didn't know that when I downloaded it. I eventually learned that to be true and talked about it on the podcast, but I hadn't actually loaded up Anno 2205 again and played it with that, knowing that to be true.
Were you fucking rich that now?
Yeah, so since last podcast... I loaded up Anno 2205, and I loaded it up, and as the game was going through, it's like, just the very first loading screen that just has copyright notices and stuff on it, just like the bullshit at the beginning. There's this woman's voice, and it goes, "New delivery, just in from the asteroid field." And I was like, oh, what's that? And I started playing the game, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I had like 20 of some of these resources, and I was like, oh, maybe that's how much I got from the game. I don't know. And then a couple days later, I noticed a button that was like, pick up asteroid deliveries. And I picked up what I had been sent from my game, and I had 999 of each thing. Like I had more resources than could be contained in the... So
you've now, by playing this free-to-play iOS game, you've maxed out your Anno game. So you've cheated.
And so, I was really hoping Nick would be on this podcast, actually, because we were talking about... When we talked about this game for the first time weeks ago, he was saying how he didn't like how the combat is sort of technically optional, but also is the way that you obtain these kind of rare resources that you use to build add-ons to your production facilities, which then like let your facilities be more efficient or use less energy or require fewer operators or like whatever. And it turns out those are the same resources that you get from this fucking mobile game. And so it has allowed me to just completely skip all the sort of like repetitive parts of the game that I don't like.
Playing the repetitive.
By playing yeah, exactly.
The shitty, energy-based, time-based free-to-play game.
But it's a repetitive, shitty thing that I am more, I guess, owned by. Like the sort of combat in the game is this very slow, kind of boring, like Diablo point and click. It's really weird. It's really out of character with the rest of the game. It's just like these very easy little quests where it's like, go blow up this bad guy. And it's in this totally separate screen. It's
what if you could offload that to a match 3 game you play on the bus?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So how much of this match 3 game have you been playing?
Oh my God. Don't even.
2 hours?
So many more hours than 2. I mean, I I actually don't really know.
How many more do you think?
Well, I actually, it's hard to say. So I mentioned this last week. I apologize for people who've been listening because this is a lot of repetition, but, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. No, it was last week because you were here. When I mentioned that the way that I was playing both that and Fallout Shelter, because they both are super time constrained. Like they both have an amount of stuff you can do before you run out of stuff to do in the time.
And then you have to let it recharge or cool down.
Yeah,
or whatever.
And so I don't really. I play Fallout. Or I'm sorry. I play Anno 2205 twice every day.
Oh yeah, you said this.
Right,
Once in
but
the
there's
way
like
in
a
and once in
hard
the way
cap
out. Yeah.
to how much I can actually play at each of those times. And
It's your commute game.
It's totally my commute game. And so I have no idea how many hours I've played it because I don't have any continuous play sessions long enough to get a sense of that. But definitely,
I mean, you can do
hours.
the rough math of you
I can do
commute
the rough
every
math.
day
I
when the
figure-
game came out.
Yeah,
You probably spend 45 minutes
probably
commuting.
blow through my energy, my like sort of chunk of energy that I can use in like 15, 20 minutes. So, maybe 40 minutes a day times like
Have you ever
every
played at work?
single day. Yeah, occasionally, although the amount of energy that I don't know. I don't like playing before the energy is fully recharged because
it just doesn't feel as good, right?
Because at the point I am in the game, it's
It's okay. We're with friends.
it is so fucking impossible. Like the levels get so goddamn brutal intentionally because they want you to like cave and spend more money on the
it
things
has
that-
the buy-in
full
whale.
on. Oh yeah, completely.
Okay.
It has the buy-in whale.
Yeah, it's got
buy-in whale.
It's got that buy-in whale. But I don't. Since I never do that, it means that when I run into one of those like brick walls,
Right.
it just means that I am just going to waste like several attempts in a row. So I hate only getting like 2 attempts. So I want to just fucking have at least half a dozen chances to bloody my knuckles against that wall in the hopes that I'll crack it. So I'm kind of actually getting to the point where some of the levels are getting so impossible that it's just, I kind of feel like it's pointless to even keep playing it.
But your data at least is on a spreadsheet in a studio, probably in this city, that is like, how do we convert these 1%ers to paying customers?
Well, the funny thing is I was a paying customer for the first few days. I spent $8 in total because I spent $1.99 4 times.
Okay.
Not on the things that allow you to be more effective in the game, but the things that allow you to get your energy back faster so you can try again.
Right, I get you.
And then it got to the point where I'm just like, this is fucking stupid. Like it was really, yeah. And I'm getting that way with Fallout Shelter as well, where at this point I play that game once every like 4 days, maybe.
You're still playing it. Yeah.
Sort of.
I played it
Not
and I just
really.
went, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of, my experience with both of these games has really, I guess I've probably alluded to this, or people can probably just pick up my feeling on these games from the way I've talked about them. It's frustrating because the core loop of both of them is like intensely satisfying to me. Like I really like the Fallout Shelter kind of just management, economics, like productivity stuff. Like it's just, I don't know. It's the same
you
reason.
like board games like that. I
like Anno 2205,
worker system stuff.
the main game, which is worker systems, economics, builder. I like stuff like that. And then Anno 2205 Asteroid Miner, like it's definitely not the deepest game, but like whatever, matching patterns is like obviously a thing many humans like. It's a super fantastically successful basic gameplay ingredient. And it just fucking sucks that the way that this stuff works on phones is just to try and ruin you. The fact that I have enjoyed both of these games so much makes it feel so much worse. Fallout Shelter, I really can't actually hold it as much against that game because I don't feel that game is actually.
But that game doesn't have in-app purchases.
It does. It
does?
It does have in-app purchases, but it really doesn't.
How did I not see them?
Because it's just not as exploitative and
Maybe I did
gross.
see them. I'm not remembering them. They didn't feel like they punched me in the face at least.
No, they don't. I can't really. That game I don't mean to slam for that reason. But just in general, the overall model, I just hate it.
Ask yourself this though about Fallout Shelter, Chris. What sweet drops are you getting in Fallout 4 from playing it?
I don't think any.
None?
Yeah.
None.
In that Asteroid Miner game, you're maxed out.
Yeah. It's true. Actually, you know what's so funny? This is another thing that both it has improved my Anno 2205 main game experience, and also just makes the like holistic experience of the whole thing kind of worse, because what it has done in Anno 2205 is that it has allowed me to pick and choose the parts of the game that I like, which sometimes I think that kind of thing is bad. Like sometimes I think the ability to just say, I don't want to engage with this part is because I just don't want to. Sometimes I think that's wrong. But in the case of this game, the thing that I'm not engaging with is this completely kind of half-baked, goofy combat thing that seems just put in there kind of
feels
just
really
as
strange.
Busy work anyway. Yeah. So it's like it's revealing a double kind of grossness, which is one, this like vestigial part of the main game that I just see as like a chore to get out of the way. And then two, that the way you sort of fast track getting that chore out of the way is by engaging with this other separate thing that on its own terms is also trying to like bilk you out of time and money. So I'm like, it's just, I don't know. It's just my experience with these things has left me in this like weird state of just existential bemusement about what the hell, like what was the intention of these game designers? Did they think this was cool, or was it all like a mandate from
on the app side?
From just the whole
holistically
thing.
When I play Fallout Shelter, I do feel like someone like there is I kind of get what you're saying. I don't know really how to tease it out rhetorically, but
I mean, again, that
there is
a lot less
backbone
gross.
Of vision to it that feels really concrete. To me.
I totally agree. Yes, I definitely agree. Fallout Shelter is a really like shockingly well made product.
I wouldn't be surprised if the like production story of that game was we want an in-app purchase companion app to promote Fallout, the release of Fallout 4, and also make a little money on the side, like make a little money, and maybe it hits.
Just like made a cool.
And somebody gave a fuck.
Brief.
Yeah. Whereas Anno 2205 Asteroid Miner seems like, how can we get people into the Anno ecosystem? How do we get people into the Uplay ecosystem?
Yeah,
like your Uplay stats have gone way the fuck up, and some mid-level VP at Ubisoft is like, people are using Uplay now.
Right, it's totally true because
Chris Ramo is.
I wouldn't even know how to begin doing this, let alone have the slightest bit of interest in doing so. But one of the other ways you can earn these resources in the game, apparently, I found out when I was getting one of my asteroid drops.
Please say Street Team. Say Street Team.
It's to earn Uplay achievements. It's to earn like your proprietary U Club things. You get Uplay badges, and then that also
you can spend Uplay currency on like wallpapers.
Wait, really? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's tied into this resource thing too. So the whole thing is just what the hell is
you're deep into the ecosystem. That's really great.
It's not really. I don't actually know how to do any of that stuff.
I know, but it's all you got to do is read one forum. You didn't know how to maximize your frequent flyer miles either. Until you decided you needed to do that.
Because you have this podcast,
payoff of that feels a little more substantial.
You could probably find the correct like social media person at Ubisoft and tell them that you are a Uplay key influencer. Now that
It's true.
Uplay consultant / key
the way in which I'm a
influencer,
key,
Chris Remo.
the biggest way I'm an influencer around this is by telling tens of thousands of podcast listeners. I feel really gross about this, so I don't know if the Ubisoft people are gonna
influence is influence. No, there's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry that your life has been fully subsumed by.
I have a question for you when you get to the end.
I'm just going to quickly say something that I don't want to be misconstrued about, which is that the main sort of thing going on behind all the shit I'm talking about is also that I've just been playing a lot of Anno 2205 and I fucking love it.
I thought you were gonna
the actual just like real game there is fucking amazing. I think it is my favorite. Like Anno 1404, I think is kind of untouchable for me because of the architecture and the time period and the vibe and everything about it is just like exactly the aesthetic experience that I love in that kind of game. But in all other respects, this game, I think, is incredible. The way that it deals with the three different kind of biomes and the way that they interact with each other and the different way that the Arctic terrain looks versus the temperate zone versus the moon and the day and night cycle. And like, it's just beautiful. And I love the way the economy works throughout them. And I love the way that the different building requirements of each zone end up creating like kind of a different feel of the way that your residential areas are clustered together. Like, I just love it. Like, if it weren't for that weird combat thing shimmed in there, this game would just, for me anyway, would be just through and through incredible. So I don't want all my like weird sort of discomfort around the way that Ubisoft, the larger Ubisoft organization, is trying to like maximize their fucking their own weird proprietary economy. I don't want that to like sour what I'm saying about the core game by Blue Byte, which is Anno 2205, which I absolutely love, which is the reason I haven't been playing as much Fallout 4 as I would have expected, because I've just been totally sidetracked by this like awesome game. So.
It's funny how that app ended up serendipitously cutting you off from the thing about the game you hated, which is nice.
Yeah, I know. I have very complicated feelings about this stuff.
Yeah. Have you played on iOS the Agricola?
No, I never have. I've played the board game.
You should play it on iOS. I think it's you pay up front. You can play against a really like aggressive, difficult to beat computer or other people. And it's obviously worker placement because you know how to play Agricola. Yeah. If you don't know what Agricola is at home, it's a board game that is about surviving sort of the 4 seasons as a family, going out and harvesting your crops and deciding if you're going to like try to like build your house bigger or like till your fields or have a kid. So it's a worker placement game that's of high regard. But the iOS version, I think, is very good.
Cool.
And it might be able to replace that commute game without having the free-to-play stuff over the top of it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good.
I highly recommend it.
The funny thing is, I traditionally never play... I've never really had commute games except for the crossword on my phone. And generally, I just listen to podcasts or read something. And so this is another way, and this has been gross to me.
Another way in which an evil grin is spreading across some UBVP's face.
Is that I've let myself just add this thing to my sort of daily routine.
You've let it attach itself to your body, basically.
That also just feels kind of gross. Yeah. I need to just do the cold turkey on this thing, I think.
I find it really hard to find iOS games anymore. I haven't really
it's hard
played
to find good things.
I still do the crossword app every day, except on Sundays where I do it in the print. But
well, you know how I end up finding stuff now? I mean, this is not a thing most people have access to, I suppose, is by listeners of this podcast just telling me to get stuff. And so that's how I found... That's the only reason I even knew Anno 2205 Asteroid Miner existed. And then also I played a game...
I like that it's called Asteroid Miner. I like the job attached to it in the fiction of the world of Anno is basically slave. Like mindless space slave.
Right.
Just go onto this dead rock and dig a hole, please. Yep. Good.
Yeah, that stuff is also treated with no fanfare whatsoever. There's just like a little crappy 3D model of an asteroid spinning around, and as you play the game, it just kind of little explosions happen on it, and that's
you're Sam Rockwell from Moon.
All the UI and everything in the game is actually really beautiful and well put together too. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, so that was an Idle Thumbs listener who told me to play that, and then today. I saw an email. This is reader mail, but I'll just do it now because we're talking about finding iOS games. So this was an email from Jessica Powley, who wrote into questions@idlethumbs.net. And she writes, "Hi, Thumbs, longtime reader, first-time emailer. To start, I miss Danielle. You're all really cool dudes, but having a woman's voice and a queer woman's perspective on the show was rad and important."
Completely agreed.
Yep.
We miss you, Danielle.
She's excited for the weekend show. Anyway, I write to you to recommend a $3 iOS puzzle game that I adore, TouchTone. It came out earlier this year, made by 2 Chicago dudes. One of them worked on 3s, I think. I might have made that all up. TouchToneGame.com.
TouchTone?
The marketing site looks slick and conveys the exact aesthetic and feeling of the game. I haven't played in a few months, but I was reminded of it when you described the color-matching style of casual puzzle games, and I thought about what puzzle games I love that don't fit that mechanic. I hope you give it a try and enjoy. Thanks for entertaining me for an hour each week. Jessica Powley. So, I played this game, and it's really cool. Yes, Sean, it is that game. It's
TouchTone TM.
Yeah, it is trademarked. This is a game that's on iOS. I don't know. It might also be on Android. I have no idea. Unless she said whether it is or not. I don't know. It's cool. It's a game where you have to kind of connect a line from point A to point B using sort of like reflective mirrors at different angles that you slide into place to create the proper paths for for these lines, and it's got a very minimalist kind of cool vector looking aesthetic with kind of sound. The lines kind of look like sound waves, like square tooth and saw waves and stuff like that, or sawtooth and stuff like that. And the theme of the game is that you work for an intelligence agency, and you're basically tapping telecommunications. You're tapping sort of email communication and stuff, and scanning them for potentially subversive speech or conversations that suggest some kind of like terrorist activity or something. And so and the way that the theming is done, I think, is pretty clever, and it's got kind of a cute conceit to it that you pick up as you kind of have gone through a bunch of these decision points where you have to determine whether or not to report each of these email logs or text logs, I guess they are. And it's cool. And it's sort of, you're playing a bunch of these puzzles, and they're strung together with this sort of security intelligence theme. And I liked it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So that's how I find my iOS games. I wait for someone to send them into this podcast. If you have any suggestions, send them to questions@idlethumbs.net. Maybe we'll play them.
I thought you were going to say, and if you have trouble finding iOS games, start a podcast and ask people to suggest things to you. You'll find stuff.
You try that too.
It's another way of going.
King writes in recommending Candy Crush.
I saw something recently about, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, so I didn't read very much up about it. Jake, maybe you have seen something about this, but I saw something retweeted or something on Twitter about how Apple is investing in improving iTunes discoverability. I don't know. Did you see?
Oh, the App Store search algorithm got totally overhauled in the last couple of weeks, so that now, like, the example is if you search for Twitter, even though that's a registered app name, you will now also find a bunch of other, like, they've it seems like they're using some sort of cloud of related searches plus things other than just, I think it used to be literally the name and then keywords that the developers put in and anything that was in plain text, and there was no other sort of like smart sort of soft-based searching, but it seems like that has, like, discoverability in search has gotten a lot better on the App Store in the last couple of weeks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess that wouldn't really help in finding a new game.
So if you type like best game into iTunes now, you're going to probably find Candy Crush still.
You guys want to take a break?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Video game. Mattresses.
Named after ghosts.
Shh. This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Casper Mattress. Obsessively engineered American-made mattresses at a shockingly fair price.
They're shockingly comfortable.
I recently slept on your Casper mattress like the third time, I think.
How was it for you?
It was really good.
It's really good.
It is a nice mattress. I enjoy it always.
One day, Sean will sleep on your Casper mattress.
You're welcome to anytime.
Okay.
If you don't have access to Sean Vanneman's Casper mattress, you can go to casper.com/thumbs and use the code thumbs. They're already very fairly priced, but you get $50 towards any of them. They come in a box that hilariously like explodes the mattress out from it.
It doesn't feel like there should be a mattress inside the box that you're given, but then you zip it open like somebody squished into a pair of pants. It's far too tight, and out they pop.
That sounds less pleasant than the Casper mattress unboxing.
Person.
They will give you a full 100 days to try it out and send it back. I think that is unlikely, but that is a guarantee that they offer. Casper.com/thumbs and the promo code thumbs for $50 towards a great mattress from Casper.
Video game.
And we're back.
Are we?
We are back. We have an email from Lois de Taltos. My God, I'm so sorry for what I've just done to you.
That's the full name,
and
actually.
Your name. Who writes, "Hi all, I thought you'd like to know that girl is now at Pluto." The subject of this email is girl update from Noby Noby Boy. 2,468 days since release, just in time for the latest data from New Horizons, and thus ends your Noby Noby Boy update. All the best, Loish. My God, again, I'm so sorry. This is crazy to me. Noby Noby Boy came out. Do you guys remember this game? This was the game. I guess the last Namco game made by Keita Takahashi, I think, right?
I believe that's correct.
Who made the first two, I suppose, Katamari Damacy games, and this was this crazy. They don't remember this better than I, who can explain it concisely.
Jake, you're a Noby Noby enthusiast.
Noby Noby Boy is a strange physics toy, kind of. You play as this like worm, like a weird sort of tube where with one analog stick on your DualShock controls the front two legs that are attached to a little sort of sphere head, and the other and the right analog stick controls the two legs attached to the butt of this basically just sort of physics rope worm thing with a cute like Japanese cartoon character face that looks like a Katamari character, and you kind of just eat things like you're on this like a flat plane with some houses and some people and some animals, and you sort of can wrap the weird physics worm around things and eat people, and you get longer, and it doesn't seem to have much of a point in any given moment. You could just do all sorts of weird things, like if you get twisted up too much, the front and back halves of you separate, and you can wander around, and
then you can eat your own butt.
You can eat your own butt. You can do all sorts of weird shit. But as you eat more things and your Noby Noby Boy gets longer, the length that you like, all the things that you add, and as your like character gets bigger, its size gets reported up to a server to extend Noby Noby Girl, who is out in space traveling from, I guess, the sun to Pluto. Or something like that. It's just like she has a really long
extending
path,
herself
a cosmic path
from the sun,
from
through the solar
across
system.
the solar system, and it was.
I think she started from Earth.
Oh, okay, and it
from
was
Earth to Pluto because go ahead.
Because the sun is too hot.
The sun is too hot. Yeah, I guess she started on Earth, but I remember in the first couple of months, it was such a big deal when people were getting close to any planet. But it was like I did not think the servers would be up long enough to hit Pluto, but I guess
not a planet.
Well, I think what they started.
Does
doing,
Noby Noby Boy predate Pluto being not a planet?
I think so. Yeah, because it was Noby Noby Boy came out in 2009. It came out like 3 months after this podcast started. So in the entire time that this podcast has existed, including a 2-year break, that game has been chugging along. Apparently in 2013 they started adding a multiplier
because the player base
to the progress.
Down,
yeah. I was reading about this. I read the NeoGAF thread about this milestone, and it sounds like there's about 30 people a day who still play this game and keep it going. And there was one guy who was describing his daily routine. He's like, yep, get home from work and I set up some like stuff that I tie to my controller and make sure that Noby Noby Boy doesn't hit the house because that does something. We'll get stuck in the house. Or something. And I just let it go and I can get about 1,000,000 points overnight. And
wait, so this is like people doing like SETI at home or like folding at home or something.
Yeah, except not, like doing protein research.
Yeah. Let's not search for aliens or do protein research. Let's just stretch this weird like heart textured worm across a virtual solar system.
I love it. I think that's
great.
awesome.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. There was a Noby Noby Boy iOS app for a while that did really weird shit that I thought was good. It was not the main game at all, but I don't actually know if it contributed length to Girl, but I hope that it did because its most notable feature was you could leave it running in your pocket, and as you walked around, it had a map of where you were going, and you were just stretching a Noby Noby Boy out over your walking distance.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that did add progress to the game, the app, but it has apparently not been updated in forever, so it just is non-functional.
Yeah.
On modern iOS devices at this point. So Girl started on Earth, has made it all the way out to Pluto now, but now is going all the way back to the sun. In other words, is going farther than the cumulative distance she has so far traveled, I guess.
That was an inefficient route.
Yeah, it was quite an inefficient route.
What happens when Girl hits the sun?
I suspect, unless there's some multiplayer chicanery multiplier stuff happening, that she's not going to get to the sun.
Okay, here, I found this guy's post on NeoGAF.
Right.
Here, so someone posted, someone out there has an elastic banded controller and PS3 permanently set up stretching their boy. And then Tears of Ash replied, here's my trick. Go into house, hold down R1, pop out Clone Boy, Hold down and select to bring up current distance menu. Pilot original boy into house. Then I have a clone boy that won't accidentally go in the house, and I have a keychain bottle opener around the analog stick holding it down. Boy at resting is usually 900 to 1,200 meters, and I can get over 1 million or so overnight. So I like that this game has this tiny community of like just long haul truckers basically who are just getting girl way out there across the galaxy. And then a really sweet thing is that Keita Takahashi himself posted a dev update about this on the blog of Uvula, which is his kind of studio, I guess, that he I think is more just sort of the name he uses for his projects at this point. But he writes, I can't submit the length I've made in my Noby app because it just doesn't work properly since no maintenance. Also, I don't have any consoles, so I can't help girl to take her to Pluto right now. But she is still heading to the Pluto little by little. To say honestly, I have felt regret and sorry about Noby because we had to release it in unfinished condition. But girl is still stretching by some amazing players. This is a great gift to me and also the ex-Noby team. Thank you so much.
That's really sweet.
Yeah,
this is a great gift to me. It was a very nice sentence.
Yeah. Did I ever say on this podcast that I met that guy at a party one time?
Well, you have now.
He's the nicest guy. I met Keita Takahashi and his wife, and I can't remember her name, but she was one of the musicians who made the fucking amazing Katamari soundtrack. And she was also great, and they were there with his like tiny little son. I think she was pregnant with their second kid at the time, and they were there with his little son, who was just like the cutest goddamn little kid and was running around being adorable. And I just kind of talked to him for a while, and I was like, "Oh, we both know this guy Cable," and he was like, "What, Cable? Who is this guy Cable Sasser who co-owns Panic Software, which is funding the game that we're making right now, but also more importantly, to this story anyway." Has a Mac software company called Panic that years ago was somehow the official manufacturer of Katamari Damacy t-shirts.
It's because they cold called Keita Takahashi and said, hey, it looks like no one's making t-shirts of this. And he said, oh, I used your FTP program.
Yeah.
And that's how that happened.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, we both know this guy Cable. And he just fucking his head exploded. He was like, Cable. So that was a fun time. Anyway.
Good. Yeah, I had not thought about Noby Noby Boy in a long time until that Pluto news hit.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see
I hope the girl one day does reach the sun and that just like a little like sprite of a heart comes out or something. Because I imagine if they planned at all for her to ever like for anything to happen, it's just going to be.
I mean, the crazy thing is there's a little cutscene that happens every time she reaches a planet, and I watched it on YouTube, and it's really rare for this kind of thing to exist in video games, where the people who made this game, probably a lot of them don't even work at that company at all anymore. And the thing that they made years and years and years ago, there's content that they created and like shipped in compressed files, you know,
in 2009. And now that cutscene was like captured by someone off their PlayStation 3 and put on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah. In 2015.
Yeah.
Good.
Man, it is the year of the PS3.
That's what they meant the entire time.
Noby Noby girl reaches Pluto.
Gosh. In that press conference in 2015, Noby Noby girl will reach Pluto. Curtain drawn. Nobody knows what the hell. Noby Noby Boy has not been announced.
Yeah.
Girl will reach Pluto.
It took all of the power of the emotion engine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the PlayStation 3 that has the emotions, right?
Yeah, emotion engine. Oh, no, that was PlayStation 2.
Oh, man.
PlayStation 2 is the emotion engine. PlayStation 3 has SPUs.
Oh, It's less good.
All right, so let's see. There's a number of different Fallout emails. One is from Duke BG, who writes, hello, in episode 237, after a reader mail from a No Mutants Allowed forum member discussing Chris Avallone and his Fallout Bible, Spaff asked if there's a vault like the one Chris had in Fallout Shelter. The actual answer is yes. The Fallout Bible described Vault 69, which is populated by 999 women and one man. There was a counterpart, Vault 68, with 999 men and one woman. So.
Worse.
So we got a few emails about that. So that was a thing.
Two individual opposite hells.
Yep.
Weird.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Oh, this is really cool. John Remedios writes, "Hey Thumbs, I'd never played a Fallout game before, as I'd always assumed they weren't for me, but after listening to Chris talk about his experience with the game after removing quest markers from Fallout 4 in episode 236, I decided I'd give it a shot. I went over to a friend's house to try his copy, insisting that I turn off the quest markers, and I fell in love with the game. Seriously, I don't remember the last time I lost 8 hours straight to a video game without noticing. While I really liked playing the game without quest markers, the compass still bothered me. Having an outline of notable locations appear felt like it was spoiling my joy of discovery." I had the same feeling. I ended up looking for some UI mods, but the only compass mods I could find removed the compass entirely, but I just wanted to get rid of the markers. So I made it. It's called the Clean Compass. I've never made a mod before. Heck, I rarely even use them. But after a day of looking at other UI mods and performing a lot of trial and error, I got it to work. So thanks, Chris. I went from never having played a Fallout game to creating a mod for it in under a week because of the way you talked about the game. Anyway, here's the link if you're interested. And then he links to a URL, which I'll just read it. Why the hell not? nexusmods.com/fallout4/mods/1368. Take care, John Remedios, Dijon John on the forums. P.S. Can you explain to me why you can't wear armor over suits and dresses? I mean, you can wear your Vault outfit under armor, and that's way less cool than the sequins dress I refuse to part with. If I can somehow figure it out, my next mod will correct this terrible mistake. What a good email.
What a great last name. It reminded me of the game Medios. I love that game.
Fair enough.
Everyone loves Medios. It's one of the great games.
It is. That was a very good email.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. So, Dominic Anello writes, "Hey Thumbs, since I had no idea who the Oblivion Clown Man was, while listening to episode 236, I did a Google image search for Oblivion Clown Man and was rewarded with 3 images of Tom Cruise and 1 of Donald Trump. I couldn't think of any way in which the actual image I was looking for could have been any more rewarding, so I stopped my search right then and there. Regards, Dominic Anello, Boston, Massachusetts." He has a link to he has a screen capture of the spread that he loaded up, which Sean, I think you will appreciate.
I'm a big Cruise booster, so let's see here.
It's like Tom Cruise at like a movie premiere or something.
It looks like with a few thought/speech bubbles, you would have a comic of.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then a sort of classic kind of who me Donald Trump pose.
What a fucking prince that guy is.
Yeah, no kidding. I did a Google image search for Oblivion Clown Man as well after getting this email, and I got the exact 2 images, which is actually kind of amazing these days because I feel like just the world we live in now, everything is different. Like everyone's Google is different.
Is optimized and targeted.
Everyone's search for everything is just totally different. Yeah. I didn't get the same order of images, but I got the exact same ones. So, yeah. Anyway.
I'm glad. It makes sense why Tom Cruise would show up because he was in that movie Oblivion.
And as a clown man.
Yeah, well, he's a man. Yeah, I don't know if he's... But, you know, there's
definitely... the opposite of a clown, that's true.
There's definitely 2 of the 3. But Donald Trump is perfect because other than man, it's like Oblivion and clown. Just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So true. Let's see. What else do we have here?
It's a bad Google image search.
Are there other just distressing things?
There's a lot of like weird gnomes and a lot of insane clown posse. There are some hilarious Oblivion characters. Anyway,
none of them are the
true Oblivion clown man, though.
Yeah. I'm really glad to have introduced that to a larger audience.
It's one of your great gifts.
Yeah. All right. So Sam Anderson writes, "Hey Thumbs." Hello Thumbs, actually, he writes. I'm sorry for making your inquiry more informal than you intended. Sam Anderson writes, "Hello Thumbs."
Hello.
In your latest episode, Mama's on Prime, you pondered the idea of Fallout in a Latin American banana dictatorship. Something a little like this already exists. 2008's Xenos 2, White Gold, also known as White Gold, War in Paradise. It's a sequel to the infamous 2005 game Boiling Point, and created by Ukrainian developer Deep Shadows, which now seems to be focused on developing hidden object games. I'll let the company website speak for itself. Quote, Deep Shadows has pioneered new approach to the genre-making mix of RPG with free-play shooter. The company owns the in-house developed engine that supports PC and Xbox 360 platforms. PS3 platform code is in the development. The key feature of the engine is support of dozens of type of the vehicles that the player is able to control, and big seamless world where you can walk anywhere without any loading times during gameplay. The company does the different kind of out and code art sourcing. We are a reliable partner that delivers the high-quality product. End quote. In play, Xenos 2 is an awkward but appealing combination of Bethesda-style RPG, Deus Ex, Stalker, and Far Cry 3. Set in a fictional chain of Caribbean islands, the tone is wildly broad in the Far Cry 3 vein, but in a way that feels much more charming. From the first beach the player watches up on, they can wander into the jungle to shoot and loot bandits with their terrible starting pistol, dive back into the water to dodge sharks and harvest pearls, or walk over to the road to commiserate with a local who has totaled his car by crashing into a human-sized tarantula. All right. My favorite memory of this game was jet skiing over to an island of pot-smoking hippies and, on a whim, stealing their seaplane, which I flew all the way across the map to a random island covered in ancient ruins and filled with bizarre enemies. I later found that this island was to be the setting for the last mission of the game. That Xenos 2 offered that level of freedom was both so delightful and so overwhelming that I stepped away from it and haven't been back since. Maybe there's something to be said for the kind of obtrusive gating on travel that many AAA open-world games employ. That said, writing all this has me musing on reinstalling my copy and starting again. Best, Sam. Postscript. I had never seen the trailer for this game before looking it up to refresh myself for this email. I found something glorious at about 1 minute and 28 seconds that has me even more excited to reinstall. I went and watched this video and forwarded to that part, and it's just the player character riding a shark. Like, he's just in the ocean, grabbing the fin, riding a shark for like 3 seconds, and then it cuts to a different scene. So apparently this game is outrageous. The thing that it reminded me of watching the trailer was like Just Cause meets, Far Cry meets a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Just in the sense of such ridiculously open player verbs and environments that just invite you to do all kinds of ruinous things.
That reminds me the when we were talking about possible weird South American Fallout, I was talking about that crazy computer system built for the Chilean government.
On this.
Yeah. So first, it was Chile, and I was called out correctly for just kind of being an ignorant shit about anything involving the president and the government regime at that time. I don't know enough to say anything about it. So I revoke any editorializing that I made by just being a flippant, quick to speak person. But if you want to look this project up yourself, the crazy government computer system and command center, it's called Project Cybersyn, Cybersyn. It has a Wikipedia page, which includes at the top of it an amazing picture of the control room, which here, look at this.
Oh my God. It just looks like the Star Trek set.
Yeah, it looks like a Star Trek set, but it was a weird techno ops center for the Chilean government for a minute. Anyway, it looks like a thing.
God,
it looks like a thing
chairs.
out of fiction. So if you want to look that up, just look at the Wikipedia page or Google that. There's a lot of writing about it, and that time in that country are really interesting if you go and start actually looking at it more. But also, that is the seat of the Fallout game that should be set in South America for sure.
Yeah, holy shit, for sure. Yeah, I obviously haven't gotten to the end of Fallout 4, but the way that Fallout 3 ends, you could just swap that out with this. Like, you could just make it set in this crazy place instead.
Yeah.
And it would be way cooler.
Way cooler?
I mean, you can't beat this,
That does seem like the apex of cool.
Yeah.
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 Or at least anything cooler is beyond my paltry imagination.
Yeah.
I wish I could talk to everybody in Fallout 4. Do you ever have that? That's I want to just be able to approach everyone and be sort of feel them out before we start shooting at each other.
Mm-hmm.
But,
you mean the bandits and stuff?
Yeah, but also people who weren't bandits who were just living in a house started shooting at me.
Yeah.
And
the old Fallout games were more like that.
Yeah.
Was that just because you could use text and have it be kind of generic?
I think that is a big reason. It's tough to keep. There was a whole strain of games on that era, especially on PC, I guess pretty much entirely on PC, that had a degree of sort of openness and interchangeability of systems that has almost doesn't exist anymore because of just the demands of fidelity and just like asset creation. Yeah, it's tough.
This is the tiniest Fallout detail, but I saw there's a mod. I saw that Fallout 4 deviated from, I guess, previous Fallout games by adopting a BioWare-style dialogue system.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Where it now just says persuade, whatever, instead of just saying the lines
like
your character will say.
And it's actually weird because sometimes I don't really understand it because sometimes it feels like the word is a tonal thing, and then sometimes it looks like it's an actual verb. Paraphrasing of what you're going to say.
Yeah, someone has put out a mod for Fallout 4 that just pre-populates the subtitle dialogue into those choices instead. Yeah. So if that's your preference, I'm never a fan of those. It was actually one of the things that turned me off to Mass Effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating to sort of, because it's so subjective, it's frustrating to have a sense of what you think your character is going to say because of the way you interpret the kind of prompt, and then have your character say something that in some cases is like the opposite. And you're like, oh shit.
I always wonder, I mean, I assume, because I've been in conversations about this in design meetings, that it comes from a concern.
I thought you were going to say, I've been in conversations where I intended to say one thing.
I've been in conversations where my brain has said lie, sarcasm. But then I lied about something else. Not even what I thought I was going to lie about. No, because I think that I think that the argument, I'm not saying this is the one that was made in the case of Fallout, but that is often made, is players don't want to read the text that their character is going to say, and then press a button, then hear an actor say it. Mm-hmm. But I think that actually models how your brain works. Like, I think you think, even if it happens like in like a snap, you know, you know what you're going to say before you say it, unless it's a crazy revelatory moment for you. But you're not like, I was in the middle of persuading this person, but then suddenly, obviously this is what I should have said the whole time. Like that, you know. And I also personally find it very satisfying in games to see the dialogue and say, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Say it, and then hear my character say it and like relish it. Like that's what I love. So I don't
also, you read so much faster than the actor is going to say it anyway. So, you know. Yeah, I agree. That style of dialogue selection is never.
And like I said, I have no idea why that choice was made in particular in Fallout 4, but
who knows? Yeah.
It's just one of those things that's never my personal preference. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to see that a mod was there for a game that I haven't played.
But you'll definitely play it on PC with all mods, knowing the J. Grod.
All mods.
Man, did you guys see that? Bethesda this is amazing to me. Bethesda is planning on, at a certain, like whenever they can, I assume this is a combination of sort of technical concerns, server concerns, and platform holder concerns, but they're planning on making the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game run PC created mods.
I thought that was just Xbox One. I thought that was like exclusive to Xbox One.
Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah, mods on you get the mods. I remember hearing that at E3.
Interesting.
In any case, console pretty cool. Of some sort will be able to use PC created mods, which is pretty amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Man, the era of third-party console exclusive back with Rise of the Tomb Raider only being on Xbox One. Very strange to me. I guess that's not. I guess it's always been around, but it was very weird today to not realize that game had been out when asking around the office if that game was out. I did not realize it was only on Xbox One for a time.
Yeah.
I realized, so here's an email that tacks on to this. Rumpelstiltskin writes, Fallout 4.
Just giving up his real name that fast, huh?
Fallout 4, please, let's see.
Please do not read my name.
Do you like the voice protagonist? Do you like the new dialogue wheel? I hate them. Overall, I'm enjoying the game, but these two things are dragging it down a fair bit for me. I can think of a few reasons for the changes, but I would like your thoughts. Are dialogue trees a sacrifice made in order to have a voice protagonist? Can the genie be put back in the bottle? Or am I stuck with voice protagonists and dialogue wheels in the big budget Bethesda games? Cheers, Rumpelstiltskin. P.S. Please don't use my name on air. P.P.S. I made you say PP. P.P.P.S. This was longer than I wanted.
Not
So,
what was the first sentence? I was thinking.
Do you like the voiced protagonist?
Oh, yeah. I like it.
I think I do, although the funny thing about, Jake, you were saying that often, or at least not often, but sometimes the decision that we were talking about gets made because of the repetition of the voice protagonist saying the thing. I mean, the irony in my case is that I actually if I only had to have one of them, I would weirdly, this is a bullshit choice because no one's asking me to make this decision for them. But if I were only to have either, full complete sentence or voiced protagonist, I would rather see my full dialogue choice, click that, not hear anything, and then hear the other person respond, which is totally.
Yep. Well, that's how it wasn't. That's how it was in Skyrim.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and that ended up wearing on me because I think the fidelity of, I think it is like a narrative fidelity thing, right? Not just the fact that people sound crisp and look high poly or whatever, but in it's a suspension of disbelief, keeping up the illusion that these people are interacting. Mm-hmm. Skyrim would break the fourth wall with that shit. It started that way, or it's just silent person, we got to get out of here or whatever.
Right.
And then that stuff would come up later in dialogue, which is a creative choice, but part of me kind of wonders that if you decide systemically that your character is not going to be able to speak, that it's only a matter of time until the other characters in the world recognize it because they're all talking to each other. So having played Fallout 4 now with a voice protagonist and comparing the two, I think I definitely prefer Fallout 4.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that there's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing with games like this, because at least for me, so much of those conversations are functional for me.
Yeah.
And that's not a slam on those games. It's just that.
Well, they are. Yeah. I mean,
the mode though, where you see the text in the UI, you press the button, and on the frame that the text has been submitted, the NPC has heard it and responds. That's just sort of saying to the player to a certain degree, this is just an information gathering mechanic.
Right.
Yeah.
But
because drama can't emerge from that. Really.
Yeah. Right. Which I understand, but sometimes the way that I'm engaging with those games,
that's what you want.
I don't care for the drama to emerge, because the drama is my interaction with the whole ecosystem in the world and everything. It's not this, dynamic camera interaction with me. And that's not the thing that I'm deriving dramatic pleasure out of. I'm deriving dramatic pleasure out of the situations that emerge out of all these systems that are colliding and my traversal of this massive world and, where I was an hour ago versus where I am now and what I've done in that time. That's to me where the kind of the whole arc comes from. And, none of this is really, it's so hard to call into question the decisions that a developer makes with this stuff because these games are so huge and massive, and someone else who isn't me probably has a totally different take on what value they get out of it. And the thing that is a challenge with games like these is when you're doing so many different things, how do you basically make it palatable to as many people as possible? Which is tough because, part of what makes these games amazing is that they do so many different things. And I don't know, it's tough. In a world where the expectation is full voice acting, it's, I guess you just have to make a decision, I suppose.
I will say, I think the female protagonist is stronger. The actress,
oh, she's really well voiced,
is much better than the actor.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I do think most of it is actually. I was sitting here thinking about it while you were talking, and I don't know if one choice is necessarily better than the other, but I think it's all sort of made right by the quality of the actual story and writing that happens. Because now that I was sitting here thinking, there's a chunk of the Assassin's Brotherhood quest in Skyrim, which a lot of people have done and know, that was really intriguing, and I was really sucked in. And I had, thinking about that quest, had forgotten that I couldn't speak the entire time, or my voice did not come out of my face. I just remembered it as a story.
Yeah.
Your brain filled in all the gaps.
Yeah, exactly. It was well executed enough that like a silent movie, thought the characters were speaking. Sort of thing. Or I was speaking.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Okay, so Daniel Alvarado writes, the other day while listening to your answer a question about playing a game in a way that it wasn't meant to be played, I think it was about playing Downwell Upside Down. I remember that in high school, my best friend, quote, discovered in a PC demo disc a crazy top-down game where you could wreak havoc and be chased by the police. The game turned out to be the original GTA, and it had a 6 or 7 minute time limit. We lost dozens of hours to that demo, taking turns trying to get the maximum wanted stars the fastest way possible and seeing who could get to the end of the time limit without getting caught. But when we finally got the complete game, something weird happened. We missed the time limit, and all that openness got us in a perpetual state of now what? Sure, we could do the exact same thing we did in the demo, but the lack of time limit didn't really seem to give us that race for your life feeling, and the missions didn't seem as fun as our own made-up game. We felt like there was no point in playing it. Just wanted to share that story with you. Keep up the good work, and thanks for all the hours of valuable podcast listening. Dan.
That's so good.
That's
awesome.
Best.
Yeah.
That is both like an amazing thing about sort of the era of the really like the PC demo, basically.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah.
also is probably part of why the PC demo is not a thing anymore.
Exactly.
What's funny though is there was Xbox 360 demos like that where I would go to a friend's house. I remember like I was crashing in somebody's house.
Because Microsoft brought the demo back hardcore with Xbox Live.
I remember
that's
crashing at
true.
somebody's house and wanting to play Geometry Wars, and I was like, "Can I just buy it? Like, all you have is the demo." And I was there for like a week, and he's like, "No, I don't want to spend any money. Don't buy that game."
Don't want to spend like the $4 for Geometry Wars or
Yeah,
whatever.
so I was just playing the $3 Geometry Wars demo like 2 hours a night while I was there. Yeah,
Yeah. Unreal Tournament 99, the original one.
The Unreal Tournament demo is the textbook
only
case
ever
for
had that demo.
Yeah, Unreal.
Oh yeah.
Those Unreal Tournament
Doom
demo.
shareware only ever had the shareware.
Man, that's okay, you've now named 2 out of the 3 most extreme demos of anyone's
Yeah.
life, and Quake 3 is the other one. Quake 3, which
I
shipped
had
with
Quake 3.
it shipped with DM17, which is just the floating sort of horseshoe shaped map,
Yeah.
which is the best Quake 3 map, I think. I mean, people will probably disagree, but that's like the canonical Quake 3 map. That was the free one. Like, are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Yep.
Same with Unreal Tournament and Doom Episode 1. Like, what?
Well, yeah, I've told
What a
that-
crazy set of things to give away for free.
I've told on this podcast before that my story of going to Best Buy in 1999 or whatever with $60 and then having my own private internal Quake 3 versus Unreal Tournament battle in my head as I decided which one to buy. And I bought Quake 3. But my memory of that time is just that those 2 games had equal share in my life because the UT99 demo
Right.
was just...
You just play that,
That
as
was
all,
just
yeah.
also-
that one weird vertical stack level.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man.
You could mod it and everything?
Yeah, those companies must have just felt like idiots for like. I mean, they probably sold a lot of copies, but at the
I'm
same
sure
time,
those games
man,
sold fine.
if only they'd figured out an energy system for their demo.
it's not that. If Steam had existed when those games came out,
Yeah.
they would have just sold a bazillion copies. Like that's. I guess now the fact that you just go "Ugh," and basically just press your thumb to a plate. Or in the case of iOS, you literally do that, and then you've just paid for it and unlocked it without having to think. Means you don't need a demo.
God, I mean, this is not even. I'm sure everyone's had this experience who has a sort of recent iPhone, but buying that TouchTone game today that was recommended by Jessica Powley, when I bought it, I realized that before I even finished taking my thumb like off the phone, it had already sent my thumbprint in and paid the money for it, and I'm just what a strange system this is. What a weird frictionless.
It's really weird when that happens with the Amazon app because like other apps can use that same password authentication. So you're like, oh yeah, I'll get a lawn chair. Well, it's going to ship to my house in a day.
Yeah,
it's going to be here by 2 p.m. In fact.
Yep.
You thought it and burned 0.0001 calories. And,
I mean, soon it'll just read your pulses and somehow infer that you really need a lawn chair.
I mean, you have to go, I don't want a lawn chair. I don't want
a lawn chair.
Yeah. Lawn chairs are the classic test case.
You don't even have a lawn.
I didn't buy a lawn chair.
Wow.
Because you removed your thumb in time.
Yeah, I did. I was, oof, man. Yeah.
So going back to this particular email, I love that the original Grand Theft Auto was... I love any stories about people playing the original Grand Theft Auto because there's kind of among people who are familiar with like the first-hand experience of playing Grand Theft Auto, which obviously among gamers is a 90+% thing, at least among the kind of people probably listen to this podcast, I would imagine. But the sort of dividing line I've found is between people who when they're talking about GTA, when they're not thinking about it, when they just casually say the first one, whether they actually mean
It's
GTA 3 or whether they mean
one,
GTA 1. And I always find that to be really fascinating. The reason I love this story is because even though I actually had the full game GTA 1, but my experience with it, even though I didn't have this like really awesome demo time limited sort of meta game that this guy and his friend created, that game still felt to me like discovering something weird and secret and like just different. Even though obviously GTA 3 really is the actual game that is more significant and culturally important.
GTA 1 for me, it was similar in that was the game that I most concretely exists in my brain as the game equivalent of like my friend presented the game to me. Like I went over to a friend's house and he like revealed that he had this game as if it was contraband.
Right.
Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's
like,
how it felt.
have you checked this thing out?
Yeah.
And I was like, what is it?
Because
like
same experience.
Not only did it look like at the time with the way that the 3D building projections worked, like it looked really nice.
And a GTA 1 was still 2D.
Yeah, it was
top down.
No, GTA 1 was top down, but the
That's
buildings
what I meant.
but the buildings had perspective. Like they were actually 3D. No, that was in 1 and 2.
I thought only GTA 2 was 3D.
Nah, they both did that.
Oh, okay.
But it had that, like I remember it just looking and feeling nice.
Yeah.
But also just...
Well, the box art was also really austere. Like it was that GTA type fit, like the classic... actually, no, the GTA 1 logo is different.
Yep.
But it was still a very like austere logo, even though it was different than the current one. And just had like a city on the front. It didn't have characters and stuff.
Yeah.
The way that modern GTA games do. It just looked very stark. And then the game was just this weird, like incredibly transgressive thing, but in a really approachable way. It felt... Okay, Jake, you're right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
It felt like playing a sort of infinite arcade game or something. It was like a really just...
It did really feel...
weird, interesting, unusual experience that didn't play like anything else. Even though it wasn't obviously as wide open as like crazy PC RPGs or like other things going on contemporarily. It was just a combination of weird things that felt very underground. It was a really... it was a very striking experience to play that game at the time. At least it was for me, and it sounds like for you as well. Yeah.
Yep.
And for this guy who had a way cooler version of it than we did. Let's see if we have anything else in here. Joey Haskey writes, do you think that frequent loading screens will ever go away? Or are sequels too ambitious and ship dates too pressured for developers to refine that particular thing? I can't help but think how awesomely next-gen Fallout 4 could feel if you could stumble onto any building or cave seamlessly. I also feel like the crafting system doesn't vary much, and I wonder if things that were cut... I wonder if maybe there were features cut from it or features that could have been added. P.S. I recently played Journey again, and I can't believe their implementation of having a brief multiplayer encounter randomly hasn't been adopted by more AAA developers.
It's a lot.
I mean, that happens in the Souls games. Kind of. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's not a live encounter, or it is, but it's like it's brief. They sort of come through a ghost.
Yeah,
and you're made to remember that other people are playing this game, but the representation.
Yeah, but you can also get fucking pwned by them.
Yeah, but you have to open the game up to that. You have to sort of play that mode.
Yeah, the way that Journey just sort of says, twist, you were online the whole time, or were you, or are you just for these 10 minutes or whatever?
I think the reason is because AAA games are generally speaking about combat.
Yeah, the verb is,
And in Journey, you can do that, and it's like this purely kind of serendipitous experience.
It's so good.
The loading time thing, I mean, there used to actually be more... It used to be more common for big, open, ambitious games to have no loading times than it is now, and I guess that's just because the sort of amount of memory required for assets that exist now.
The art and sound that has to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not loads in the GTA games, though, are there? I don't think so.
No, I guess there aren't.
No. But also there
are. GTA loads when you go into interiors.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
it does.
Does it really?
Yeah,
when you go into interiors,
it spins up for a second. It's quick, but it does. Yeah. I mean, maybe not the absolutely most recent ones. I don't know. I don't
on GTA 4. On GTA 4, I don't think there's interior loads.
Maybe 4 and 5 don't, but the old ones did. Huh.
But the interiors aren't really robust the way, a Bethesda game has robust
Bethesda
dungeons.
Games, the interior and exterior are like equally kind of, they're on the sort of same scale. Mm-hmm. Whereas in a GTA game, you're going into a different, like...
The thing I don't mind about it in Fallout, and I was actually thinking about this a lot yesterday, is that when those loads happen, I kind of prepare myself for something that's conceptually authored, and oftentimes that's the case, where it's like, okay, this scenario is almost like an episode of my of my longer adventure. And I like that. I think I like it in context of Fallout a lot, just because it feels like post-classical media or whatever, to be like, this is where you go into, like, this is the supermarket chapter, you know?
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. It's there's kind of a willingness to live with the artifice that I kind of like.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with it, I guess.
No, me too. I mean, there are developers that are trying to push this, though. I mean, No Man's Sky, right?
Right.
Like, that is intended to be a totally seamless experience.
Daisies, but it's all online, all multiplayer. It's not.
Yeah, the thing that I was going to say about like a Bethesda scope game, the sort of, it seems like, as this reader pointed out, as tech gets better, art assets are going to progress up to match it, but the avenue by which developers might be able to catch up with that is when people start, or if people start increasingly storing their games on remote servers and stream them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like the way OnLive or PlayStation Now works, like if basically you were playing a special streaming version of Fallout 4 that had overworld and underworld, or all exteriors and all interiors loaded basically on two PCs, one just had one out and running and one had the other one, and they were both being streamed into you. So basically when you went into a place that a load screen would happen, it would just transfer your save over to the other computer and stream that to you. That's not literally how it would work, but once your game is streaming in over the internet, the amount of computational power required can just, it can
be distributed.
It can be distributed. Yeah. So maybe
do you think that's a thing that is going to happen anytime soon?
I don't think literally that would happen, but I mean, I don't know.
In terms of the economics of like PC power, though, it feels like that's the way it will be, right? Like you would just buy a box that's like an Apple TV, and it's just.
It feels like eventually, right? Because games are this weird holdout where it's like, anyway, download 40 gigabytes of stuff now.
Yeah.
Just nothing else works like that at all.
No.
In our sort of modern media.
Yeah. Everything.
Also, just having to buy, $400 worth of computational hardware that is, like that cost is much easier to distribute over a server farm.
And I mean, to the point that Chris, that games are outliers, even like now as companies who are not traditional game companies are getting into games, like Apple with the Apple TV and a lot of Android devices are also not allowing developers to use their traditional behaviors and are instead saying you have to only give people 200 megs first, and they have to be able to play the game starting then, and then you can stream the remaining 2 gigs, but you can't make people wait.
Right, and Blizzard has been doing that for years, and it's amazing.
It's
fucking
so
crazy.
Slick. Oh my gosh.
World of Warcraft works that way, StarCraft 2 works that way.
I want to try this game, and then it just, when it hits the 15% mark, it's like, you're ready to go. It's got all this other stuff to do, but you're good to go.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing to experience that. Yeah.
That stuff is it seems like as game development infrastructure adapts more to supporting that, whether it's downloading in real time or probably more realistically streaming in off of a remote system entirely. It seems like if you're a developer and you're like, well, our customers expect the game to just go the moment they press the button because the standard in 2020 is that you were running all the stuff off a server, you should probably just take advantage of that and also figure out how to get all of your shit to stream, because it would seem insane if you press a button and your game starts immediately with no load screen, but then when you walk into a cave, you have to wait 25 seconds. Like that seems like that at a certain point is just going to be unrealistic from a consumer expectation.
Right.
Man, I feel like such an old man when I bought Fallout 4 on PSN, and it was 40 gigs, took like 30 minutes, 25 minutes to download, and then
that's pretty fast.
I have good internet.
Yeah,
like I have fast internet. Luckily.
But then you wait.
I don't even pay for the good internet. I just get really good internet. I'm like really blessed. But then I waited for the install time.
Blessed.
Hashtag blessed, please. Yeah, thank you. Hashtag Comcast cares. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag Comcast cares. Hashtag kill me.
But yeah, I'm sure it downloaded in a half hour, then took like a day to install.
It took 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, and I felt like such an old man. And I remember seeing
you're installing Windows 95 or something.
Is it done yet? And I remember so in the beginning, I don't know if it's like this on PC, but they do the 7 little short films of all the abilities in special, like strength, perception, whatever.
I don't think I remember that happening.
So
you don't
it runs
have to install games on Steam because you download it
and it's there. It's already
unpacks, of course. But they're really nicely done. They're post-war, like, you're a special person. You're going to learn all about strength today.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And they're nicely done. They're probably like 3 minutes, 4 minutes each. There's 7 of them, so that's 25 minutes. And I watched them all, and at the end of it, I was 13% installed. And I went, well, is there more to watch?
Right.
So I'm buckled in for
a feature film.
I know. I was like, am I really buckled in for a 2-hour movie right now?
Surely they timed this to the appropriate.
Right, that's what I thought. I couldn't, and then it just did them all again, and I went into the other room and played Dota. But I kept picking back in, like, how much longer? 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a long time. For after spending $60 for, like, gonna go home and play Fallout. I am not. Absolutely not. Yeah. Weird.
Yep.
Felt very old. Or just, like, not.
Why did you feel so old?
I shouldn't say old. I felt unknowledgeable. I felt like is this what the expected? Is this expected? This is. Have I not been playing games on this? Is this what it was like? That sort of feeling.
Right,
That's not necessarily age. It's more just being in the know.
Out of step.
Yeah, out of step, out of touch,
out of time.
Stop.
Out of time for this podcast.
Yes.
Well, thanks for listening to Idle Thumbs. This was a very reader mail heavy episode. You could make a future episode reader mail heavier by sending your questions or comments to questions@idlethumbs.net.
The shorter and more concise and interesting they are, the more opportunity we have to read them on the podcast.
Yeah.
So you can make the podcast reader mail heavy with a feather of a reader mail.
With a light touch.
Yeah.
If you enjoy this podcast, please consider telling a friend.
Or a stranger. You don't have to just tell a friend.
Anyway, we do appreciate word of mouth. It's really pretty much the only way that this podcast audience grows. So if you do have people in your life who you think might enjoy this podcast, tell them about it. We would appreciate it.
Over Thanksgiving dinner, perhaps.
There you go. We have other podcasts on our network at idlethumbs.net, including Esports Today, hosted by Rob Zachney, which is all about everything that's going on in the world of professional and competitive gaming. It's really good. Rob knows his stuff. It's very slick and professional and entertaining. And all kinds of other shows about video games at idlethumbs.net. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks also, Sean.
How many times do you think you've said thank you, Chris, at the end of an episode?
All times.
Do you mean to do it, or are you compelled to do it? You know what other times it is? When we're closer to the holidays? Die Hard times. I gotta watch my yearly viewing of Die Hard.
Are you gonna watch all of them?
No.
Die Hard Marathon, Sean, all of them.
No, because the third one...
Start with the newest one.
The third one's not a Christmas movie. The first two are holiday movies. The first one is definitely a Christmas movie. The second one is coincidentally a holiday movie. The second one is like
if we're
snowy.
on the internet right now.
What?